difference. Because I have an opportunity to interact with people all over the world. I can keep a pulse on what the rising energies, what they're bringing up for people, because we are more might want to bring Arlen in a little earlier. We are more as individual cells in an organism as we are individuals. The organism is humanity, and what happens in humanity, even at a distance, we're connected to because we're part of that organism. The organism of humanity is in a state of panic. And is in a state of collective grief. And is in a state of collective anger. And in the video from yesterday, Arlen took me through a process of going in and releasing that that ball of energy that was in the lower abdomen. That was released. And then later on I had a conversation, what we call a conversation with a friend, which my conversations with my friends are healing sessions. They just are. I can't help but ground disturbance. So if it shows up, I ground it into the earth. And the reason that that's okay is because it's only disturbed when it's contracted, held energy. It's felt as disturbance. In the process of releasing it and integrating it can be referred to as healing. So the process of healing is just letting these contracted, held energies up and letting them find space to be integrated as the event that it was. Oftentimes these events are overwhelming. And I can mention that. I can use those words. Oftentimes these events were overwhelming and the body starts vibrating. And that's one of those events that may have been overwhelming for you or overwhelming for the world. And it didn't get resolved. So we're at a time in her story where taking place right in this minute. A worldwide cleansing of consciousness. Everyone's having their windows washed. And probably all of us are experiencing some discomfort. You could say, discomfort? I'm going out of my mind. It's like, well, if you're going out of your mind, where are you going? And it's good. I would support you fully going out of your mind. I wouldn't lose it because it can be very useful in some way. But it can be overused as well, and it can be worn out with the stories people make up to cover the event. They don't feel like they can feel and resolve. So today's going to be one of those days of feeling and resolving, feeling and resolving, feeling and resolving. It's just going to go on like that. This is Tuesday. And I've been invited to an event called Taco Tuesday. And this is a gathering of men, three of them. Sometimes two, sometimes one. But these men have been long-term friends of my friend, who I came here to see if there's something I could do to help him in his loss of memory. So once again, my good friend and sometimes appearing mean, older or younger brother. I don't know which he is, whether he's an older brother or younger brother, but it does change things, whether it be an older brother or younger brother, but let's just say it's my brother, and this brother is helping me work with these times. So we're going to just get back to these times we are working with, and we're all working with them. So we'll let Arlen take me through a process that may help you. So the only reason that there is this feeling of pain that you may have is because of the ability that we have to contract something down and store it away. And that's for later. And because the body is continually wanting to release these energies, the body's in many ways looking for events that can uncontract this energy. This feels like too much. I'm going to contract it in. So at the same point, this can feel like too much. And then I'm going to release it out. Black cat just crossed my path. That would be Baxter. Okay, so we're just going to do that a few times. So this energy attempts to surface. We pull it in, and our body has to respond to build up muscles to hold that in. And then the body tries to move it out. And we pull it back in again. The body tries to let it out. And if we stop trying to pull it back in again, the intelligence of the body just releases it. I smile because I'm, in this lifetime acting as a guide for Stephen. And I smile every time he actually follows through. Not to say that he isn't good following through eventually. It's that he has had a tendency in the past to not follow through and then have his plate just get stacked higher and higher. So when I'm working with him and I'm showing him how to do something and I'm demonstrating it with him so that you, if you want to, can have that experience just by watching and feeling the energetics that are happening. So again, heart is a common storage place for these emotional tensions from unresolved events of this contraction. So we can contract and contract and contract, contract, and then go numb. But if you feel the body's trying to bring breath to it, and enough breath, and it releases that. It releases, really the breath releases that contraction. And if we go along with it, we release that contraction. That was the contraction that was causing pain in the heart. Now we have this so there's a statement that you might have made, Stephen's definitely made, about that person being a pain in the ass. And so you could look at what the actual physiology is of a person going from being a person to being a pain in the ass. there's steps in that process. They may be different for different people, but there's steps in that process. It might start off, he's such a pain, he's such a pain, he's such a pain. She's such a pain, she's such a pain, it needs to be said 3 times in order for it to be a hypnotic suggestion. I think that's the rule. There's a lot of rules. If you buy that educational package, then they become your rules, then you just begin repeating them. And I know Stephen wanted me to say a certain thing. He goes, say this, say this. So I think people get it without describing every single detail of it. People get it. All they need is sometimes for more visual, all they need is an image. Oh, I see the light, or I hear the sound, or I feel the change. Mm-hmm. So just notice all these changes. And that know also that there's not a requirement to suffer. If you're suffering, you may have a belief that to heal you need to suffer, or healing has to be uncomfortable. And you can let that go if you want right now. Here goes the breath again. So here goes the breath. So it's like you can't get your breath. But it really is, you can get your breath. And the body's doing it. Okay. So that's enough for now. If you are a person that does well with assignments, then go back through and watch this again and maybe again and again, and write down all the exercises that you were shown and practice them at least 3 times. And then you might just want to declare for yourself out loud that today is going to be an amazing day of healing. And if you notice a change, feel free to mention that change and mention it specifically. I felt this happen. I felt this relax. I felt this open up. Whatever it was that you noticed, and you feel like just, oh, I noticed this, and then make it as a comment. Then somebody else may say, oh, I noticed that too, or I noticed this. And people might go, oh, I noticed that as well. So the purpose of to help people become more self-informed, more informed about themselves, about the things they may have been holding their consciousness outside of, and discovering that it's over time and with no hurry, it's useful to become more aware. And awareness is only painful when we resist releasing and integrating the energies that are wanting to come out. So if we just peacefully be with the energies that are trying to come out, even if when they're coming out, even if they're feeling stuck and oh, they're frozen. Oh, that thing right there, it's not coming out. Well, as soon as you notice it, it's coming out. And that's all you need to do, is let it. You can even just watch it come out. It doesn't really take much in the way of time. Stephen's chanting in the background. Now must go, now must go, now must go. And 3 times again. You hear it 3 times. Then you know somebody's trying to hypnotize you. And you choose to either be hypnotized or dehypnotized. You become more present, less present. The more you breathe, the more present you will become. Namaste, namaste, namaste. So you might want to write down this exercise. Yeah, you're probably going to have to slow it down and study it. Maybe you could get a PhD in it. And then sometimes there'll be those times where something's releasing and you'll feel chilled. Sometimes if it's like something rises up and it's a little bit bigger and it has a little more intensity to it, you'll have things like this happen. The sooner you stop holding it, the sooner it can release. More gently and easily you can integrate it. You don't need to know much about it at all, other than it's a contracted energy that can be released. Okay. Now let's go.